What's happening, film friends? David the Film Junkie here. All right, well, I've been meaning to do a video about this, and people actually been asking me if I was going to comment about it. And you know, it's like a week old, probably more than that. I'm looking at this article from Entertainment Weekly, March 23rd is when this started coming about. So yeah, I'm pretty late on this. I apologize. Just trying to during the week sometimes just get too busy with my normal job, and then of course trying to catch up on everything, see movies and everything. Anyways, Brett Ratner. Now, Brett Ratner. Sometimes some people don't like him, some people do. I dig the Rush Hour movies. That's the only thing I really think of that he's done on the top of my head. I know he's done many more. But he had some comments to say about Rotten Tomatoes. And he took some jabs at Rotten Tomatoes. And I've actually kind of touched bases about my opinion about this whole thing. Because it does suck that we got people, and I know people, that they will refuse to see a movie if that Rotten Tomato score is rotten. And I want to pull my hair. I want to just give him an elbow to the cheek to just be like, come on, just make up, go see it and determine if you like it or not yourself. I hate that shit. But then I know people that refuse. Like me, if I want to see a movie, I'll go see a movie. If it has like a really low score, it's not going to deter me. I might go, oh shit, that kind of sucks, but I don't know. I guess that's just my opinion on it. But this is what he had to say, just in case you didn't know. He said, the worst thing we have in today's movie culture is Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's the destruction of our business. I have such respect and admiration for film criticism. When I was growing up, film criticism was a real art, and there was intellect that went into that. And you would read Pauline Kael's reviews or some others, and that just doesn't exist anymore. Now it's just about a number. A compounded number of how many positive versus negatives. Now it's about what is your Rotten Tomato score. And that's sad because the Rotten Tomato score was so low on Batman vs. Superman, I think it put a cloud over a movie that was incredibly successful. Yeah, well, I think his company, Rat Pack, kind of co-financed Batman vs. Superman, so of course he's got a little sour grapes about that. He also went on saying, people don't realize what goes into making a movie like that. It's mind-blowing. It's just insane. It's hurting the business. It's getting people to not see a movie. In Middle America, it's a low Rotten Tomato score, so I'm not going to see it because it must suck. But that number is an aggregate, and one that nobody can figure out exactly what it means, and it's not always correct. I've seen some great movies with really abysmal Rotten Tomato scores. What's sad is film criticism has disappeared. It's really sad. Now, what are my thoughts about this? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And this is what I've touched bases on this before. It is true. People will not see when I actually go when I go to Rotten Tomatoes to see how a film is doing when it comes to the critics. I actually look at what the critics are saying because right underneath, people probably don't even realize this. You actually see little paragraphs, maybe like just one sentence, a quote from the critic saying what they loved or hated about this movie. Now, you can always click on their link and it'll take you to the full review and you can read up their full thing. And I've done that before too. Majority of people, like the normal movie-going crowd, will not do that. They will just look at that number and that's about it. And that's what really sucks. And he's right about that. It is hurting the movie business because people refuse to do it because of 1%. Now, where I disagree, where I think Rotten Tomatoes is a good thing, is the fact that when you do have a bunch of critics going, oh my God, this movie's great, this, that, and this, I love this, I love that, and you have a high rating, it's a good thing. And it actually challenges filmmakers to really put out a decent product. Like, especially when it comes to superhero movies, because yes, there can be a bias out there, which does suck, but if you could really win over the critics and they can eliminate that bias towards the genre, then you have something going on. Now, when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, what can they do to help this out? Well, they need to really look at someone's reviews, because I remember seeing when Batman vs. Superman came out and it was just like, I was feeling depressed. And a lot of people were feeling depressed of how it was just getting shit on and shit on and shit on. But then you started looking at reviews and it seemed like they were positive, yet they were considered rotten reviews. And it just kind of blew my mind because there could be a film critic out there that can give it just like, out of 5 stars, like 3.5 or 2.5, which is right down the middle. And they could say, oh, I liked all this about it, but I did not like all this about it. And how do you determine whether that's rotten or a fresh tomato? How do you determine that? Well, you can't smell it. You can't. You just got to determine whether that is or not. And that's where it's hard for Rotten Tomatoes, I guess, to determine and have like a proper rating system. I mean, I know that it's not necessarily their fault because they're just taking other people's reviews, putting it together, and then breaking it down with a number. And yeah, it is hurting the business. It is hurting movies because I think if Batman vs Superman didn't have such a low rating, it would have fucking been stellar. And then it sucks too because a lot of these people that did not like the theatrical cut watched the ultimate cut, and now we're like, holy shit, I have to apologize. This movie's actually pretty great. And I wish they could redo that with people and jump that number back up, but I don't know. So it's hard to determine whether it's a good thing or a bad thing because it is a good thing if you're actually going there and taking the time to read people's reviews as opposed to just looking at that number and going, fuck this, that's where it's really bad. But that's on the person. It's not necessarily on the site, and it's not necessarily on anybody else. That's on the individual person. And in this era where we just get rocket fast, just right in your face, like information quickly, people just love that. So if they could just get, oh, there's a rating right there, I'm not going to see it, they're just going to do that. And that's sad. That's what sadly sucks. And I could see why he's upset, but it's not going away. It's not going anywhere. Rotten Tomatoes is just hugely successful, and we got to live with it, sadly. But I just wish people would actually take the time and read. How about that? What a concept. Read. Yeah. It's lost on many people. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts about this down below. What do you think about what he said right there? And what do you think about Rotten Tomatoes? Let me know down below. And please hit that like, thumbs up button if you'd be so kind. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to the news channel. And follow me on the social media stuff right up there. And I'll talk to you later.